Okay, so in this video, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process on how you can build a voice agent by the end of this video. We've managed to scale our agency to 80k a month. We made 60k last month. And these are the tools that we used in order to do that. We have a variety of services that we provide, like voice agents, email agents, etc. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the full step-by-step process on how you can build these voice agents for yourself. I'll also leave templates down below so you can download everything and you don't have to build it yourself. So let's get straight into it. To build voice agents, we're going to start over here on a software called Vappy, which is essentially going to build the voice agent for us. When you come over to Vappy and you sign up, you will have a create assistant button over here, which you will select blank template and you'll name your voice agent for whichever industry you're building it for. In this video, we're going to build a real estate one. I have planned this video, so all of the tools that we use in the real estate agent is going to be universal. So whatever industry you're working with, you will use the tools that we build in this video. Okay, so to start with the voice agent, as soon as you create a new assistant, the main thing you're going to spend the majority of your time on is creating a system prompt. The system prompt is essentially giving this voice agent a personality and giving it a set of rules to follow while on call with somebody. So you can see here we have our prompt in here, and I have this prompt written out over here, which you'll be able to go into this document in the first link in the description for completely free. But we have here the system prompt. So we tell it essentially the role, which is you're a real estate agent for a Dublin-based company, and you're able to schedule appointments, etc. So we give it a core functions, which is to search for properties. It's able to schedule viewings, it's able to offer available time slots, and then it will notify the real estate agent whenever somebody books an appointment. Now, it's crucial in voice agents to give it a time, which is the now variable in voice agents. And if we don't give this, or if we don't put this, as you can see over here in the prompt, if we don't give it this variable right here, then when we ask, or if a caller rings a voice agent and asks, can I book an appointment for tomorrow, it will pick a random time in 2024 or 2023. So you have to give it this now variable, which is an inbuilt Vappy variable, and this gives the voice agent the current time, which is right now, so the current date and time. So after we give the voice agent the current date and time, we give it the property search tool, which is the main tool we're going to use. So whenever somebody calls and they say, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house in Texas, then this voice agent is going to know to trigger this tool. As you can see in this tool, we have a couple of parameters. So we need the price, the bathroom, the bedroom, the state of the property that they're looking to move in, and the address. We give it the response format in which the tool will send back all of the details. And then we have the search strategy. So we have the specific address. If the user mentions an address, then that's all we need. We can go and search for that address. But if they don't mention an address, then we need to get some other details of them, like the location, the budget, the bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. All of these tools are built over here in this section over here, which you can see we need to build 3 to 4 tools. So we need to build the get available times. We need to build the actual book in the appointment. We need to build the search tools, and we need to build the tool to notify the real estate agent, which we will do all in this video. So in here, after we give the Vappy agent all of these details about the tools, how to act, again, you can just read this in your own time with the document I provided below. After we give it this full prompt and it basically knows how to act, we'll update this and we will publish this. Now there's a couple more details, or there's a couple more system settings that we need to set up. So you can see over here we have OpenAI, and we're going to use GPT-4o mini cluster for the first message, which is what the voice agent is going to say whenever it picks up a call. We will say, hello, this is, let's say, John from Red X Property. How can I help you? That's going to be the first message this agent says whenever we call it. So we can test that out right now and see if it does that. We click this button up here to initiate the call, which is,
hello, this is John from Redex Property. How can I help you?
Okay, perfect. So it answers the call and it does exactly what we need it to do. So the next thing we're going to need to do after we have the prompt in is finish off all of these settings. You can see here we can add in a file, which is a knowledge base, which would basically be all of the details about the company that we're working with, or the company that we set or the company that we set this voice agent up for, but we'll leave that out of this video. For temperature, I think 0.4 is the perfect temperature for voice agents. We leave the max tokens alone. For voice configuration, I think Vappy Elliot is a really good one. You can keep that one as is. And then we have some other details which we don't really need to get into today. The only thing that we're going to need to do is give this voice agent access to tools. So you can see here we have no tools. So what we're going to do is come down here and we're going to select and we're going to create tools. Now the first tools we're going to create is the Google Calendar tool. So it's going to be able to search for available times and book appointments. Now Vappy has just introduced a inbuilt Google tool or a Google Calendar tool where you'll just have to sign into your Google Calendar and that's it. We'll have access. So you can see down here in external provider keys, we can go into here and we can scroll down to the bottom somewhere along here, which you can see down here. So you can see in tool providers in the external provider keys, we can go over here to Google Calendar and we can sign in by just pressing connect. Then we can see here link Google Calendar account and we can press connect. I'm just going to link my Google Calendar here, and now you can see if we scroll down here it has access to our Google Calendar. So that's a lot of work done. That's basically 2 tools already created. So if we come over here and we press create a new tool, you can see if we come down here to Google Calendar, we can press create an event and we can also press check availability. So for the check availability tool, we're going to put in here the description so the voice agent knows exactly what this tool is and when to use it. So we're going to say for the description here, we're going to say use this tool to check the availability in my calendar and check for 45-minute time slots and always return all busy slots for that. Always return all busy slots for the requested day the caller mentions. So boom, that's basically the full tool built. We can just save this now, and if we come back over to the assistant that we just built and we come over to the tool sections, we should be able to give access to that tool. So you can see here check availability and we can press publish. So if we ring this assistant now, it's going to be able to check my calendar and return all of the available times for any time slot that the caller has mentioned. Now before that, we're going to also give it access to be able to book appointments. So if we come back over here to the actual booking section of the Google Calendar, so you can see the one that we just configured is only going to return the available times, and this one is going to actually book the appointments into the calendar. So we're going to say this is the tool to use whenever you, this is the tool we're going to use to book appointments into the calendar, and then we'll say all booking slots are 45 minutes long, and we'll say we are using Dublin Europe time zone. Okay, so this is basically all we need to do to fix this tool. We're going to also come down here and we're going to select Europe Dublin, which is the time zone that we're in, and we'll click save on that. And now that is basically all of the calendar tools completed. So if we come back over to our voice agent, we can test this now to see if it's able to pull out the busy times in our table. So I'll come over here to my calendar, and you can see that today at 4 to 7 p.m. I'm completely busy. So if we ring this voice agent, it should be able to detect that that time is not available. Okay, one thing to make sure after we have created both of the tools is that we come over here to the tools section and we give it access to the second one that we just created. So now it has access to both tools. We're going to click publish, and we can now ring this assistant to see if it's able to check our calendar. So let's bring it up here, and we're going to suggest a time that's already busy.
This is John from Redex Property. How can I help
John,
you?
Do you have any available appointments at 5 p.m. today?
This will just take a sec. Unfortunately, 5 p.m. today is booked, and there are no available slots.
Okay, can you book tomorrow at 3 p.m., please?
Hold on a sec. Perfect. 3 p.m. tomorrow is free. Shall I go ahead and book that for you?
Yeah, please.
Can I have your full name for the appointment?
It's John.
Thank you, John. Could you please provide your email address?
John@gmail.com.
Thank you, John. Lastly, could you provide your phone number?
Yeah, it's 123456778.
One moment. Your appointment for the property viewing tomorrow at 3 p.m. is confirmed.
So we now see it's able to check our calendar availability and it's able to book appointments into the calendar. Now, there's two other tools that we need to add into this. As we can see here in the prompt, we have the tool where it's able to search properties. And we also have the tool, if we come down here, we can see it's able to notify the real estate agent. Now, to build these tools, it's a little bit more different and it requires us to use make.com. So let's build, first of all, the notify the real estate agent tool. So if we come over here to tools, we're going to click create a new tool and we're going to select the function tool. This tool, we're going to call it exactly what we have it called over here in the prompt. Just for another tip for tools is whenever you're naming them inside your prompt, so when you're giving the prompt access or when you're telling the prompt what tools it has access to, always name it in here exactly how you have the actual tool name. So you can see here we have the tool called notify underscore real estate agent. I'm going to copy that, and when we come over here to this tool, this is exactly what I'm going to call it. We'll save that and we'll say use this tool to notify the real estate agent whenever somebody has booked an appointment. And then down here we need to select a URL. So we need a URL to use, or a webhook that we can send the information to actually book this appointment. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. So when we come over to make.com, this is all we need to notify the real estate agent. So we're going to use this, a webhook and an email module. So to build this, all you're going to need to do is come down here and select where it says webhook. You can see here, we're going to select the webhook and then we're going to select a custom webhook. When we select a custom webhook, then we're going to go over here to where it says add. We're going to add a new webhook. We're going to give it a name. And then when we select that webhook, if we come up here, we can see that this webhook will be given the name and it will be given this URL right here, which is our webhook URL. We're going to copy this webhook URL and we're going to bring it over to Vappy and we're going to paste it in here. We'll save that, and now this webhook knows exactly that whenever this tool needs to be called, whenever we need to notify a real estate agent, it's going to trigger this webhook. If we come over here and we switch this on, for example, in that last call, we booked in an appointment for 3 p.m. As soon as that appointment got booked in, Vappy assistant would know because we gave it the description up here that it triggers this tool whenever somebody books an appointment. The assistant would trigger the tool and it would send an email. So we can see here we triggered the tool, and over here we need to send an email. Now in this email, we're going to include new booking and we're going to include the person's name, the email, their phone number, the time that they booked for, and the details of the call. So in order to do that, in order for the tool to know exactly how to do that, we're going to come down here to where it says parameters and we're going to add that in. So we need to first of all add the name of the person, and we're going to say in the parameter, this is the name of the caller, and that is basically that complete. We're going to select this as required because it's crucial that we need this to send the email. We're going to select the name. Then we'll need another one called email, and we'll select this is the email of the caller. We'll also apply this. We need the time that they booked, so we'll add a new property and we'll select this as time booked. We have to add this time booked. We will say this is the time the caller booked an appointment for. We will apply this, and if we come back over here, we can see we also want the phone number and the details of the call. So we'll come back over here. We'll add another parameter called phone number. We'll just call this one phone, and we'll say this is the phone number of the caller. We will again apply this, and then lastly we need details of the call. So we'll say description, call this description, and we'll say this is a brief description of the call. Now we will apply that and we will save this tool. Now whenever somebody books, the Vappy assistant is going to trigger this tool, and the tool is going to send off all of this information in which it will get from the call. Okay, so now let's test this assistant to see if it's able to use the tool. So firstly, again, we're going to come down to tools and we're going to select notify the real estate agent. We're going to publish that. Come over here to the make scenario. We'll run this to make sure it's able to receive the data, and then we will talk to this assistant.
Hello, this is John from Redex Property. How can I help you?
Hey, can I book an appointment for tomorrow at 2 p.m. please?
Let me check availability for you. Great, 2 p.m. tomorrow is available. Would you like to schedule a viewing?
Yes.
What is your name?
It's John.
Thanks, John. What's your email address?
John@gmail.com.
Got it. And what's your phone number?
It's 123456778.
Booked. You'll get a confirmation shortly.
So we can see there it booked in the appointment. It gave the person's name as john@gmail.com. And then if we come over here, we can see this scenario was triggered. Now to see what this information was that was sent back, we come in here, we select message, we select tool calls, and then we can see in here all of the information that gets sent back. So we can see it sends the person's name, email, phone number, description, and the time they booked the actual appointment for. So we'll come over here and we can see if we get rid of this, because you won't have this as soon as you build this, you won't have all of this available. So we'll get rid of that, and then we'll come in here and we'll select new booking, and then we'll select name. We can come over here to where it says tool calls, function, arguments, and we'll select name, email, phone, description, and the time it booked. Now, one thing we need to mention is in this email module, when it's sending the email to the real estate agent whenever the booking is confirmed, in this section here is where you're going to put the actual email of the real estate agent or whoever you want to send the notifications to. Then you can see here we have all of the plain text. So it booked the appointment, done all of the details about searching for properties and returning it back. And we can also go over here to the email, to my email, in which it sends the notifications to, and we can check what it sent to me. So you can see here it says new booking, name John, email John, his phone number. You can see the description, which is a viewing for appointment of 54 East Avenue, and it gives the time that he booked for. So that is basically everything completely done. It's able to book, it's able to search for properties, and it's able to notify the real estate agent. Now the next tool we need to build in this assistant is the ability to search for properties. So you can see here we have a property search tool. Now for this tool, we want the assistant to be able to either search for properties or get properties. So for example, if somebody rings, they may be ringing to ask about a specific property which they have the actual address for. So they may ring and say, hey, is the property 123 Sesame Street available to view tomorrow? In that case, all we need is the address, and then we can go and search the property database to see if that property is available. But there's another scenario where the person doesn't actually have an address and they're just searching for a property. So maybe they say, looking for a 3-bedroom property in Texas. In that scenario, we don't have an address, so we need to search for properties in our database, which is 3 bedrooms in Texas. So to do that, we're going to come down here and we're going to go to tools. We're going to create a new tool. Again, we're going to use the function tool. For this tool, again, we're going to come back over here to the prompt, and we're going to see what the tool is called here in the prompt. We have named this tool search properties. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come back down to the tools, and I'm going to call this tool search properties. And then we're going to say for this tool, use this tool whenever the caller is looking for details on a property. We'll save that. And then if we come down here to parameters, we need some information. So the caller is either going to have the address of the property. So we'll call this address and we'll say this is the address the caller is asking about. And we'll apply this. Now, if they don't have the address, they're going to have stuff like the bedrooms, the amount of bathrooms, price range, or even the state that the property is in. So we're going to select this one and we're going to select price range. And we're going to say this is the price range of the property the caller is looking for. We will apply this. Secondly, they might ask about bedrooms. So we'll say beds and we'll say this is the amount of bedrooms the caller is looking for. We will apply this. We will apply another one called state and we will say this is the state the caller is looking to buy a property in. That's all we need in the parameters. So we're either going to have the address of the property and we can use that to search the database, or we will get one of these details off the client. So maybe if they say I'm looking for a 2-bedroom house, then we can just use this and we can go and search for 2-bedroom houses. Now again, down here we need another webhook URL. So we're going to come over here to make.com and this is the scenario that's going to search for properties. So again, you can see we start with another webhook module, which we can select by coming down here, select custom webhook, and then again add in a new tool, calling it whatever you want, and then using the webhook that it outputs. So if we delete this now, as we don't need it, we can see up here we have the webhook tool. So I will copy this, I'll come back down here and I will paste it into here. Now that's basically everything we need to do on Vappy. That's essentially the full assistant done. Now for it to be able to use this search properties tool, we're going to come over here and we're going to make this make.com scenario. Again, I'll leave this down below so you can download it in my community. So you won't have to build it yourself, you can just download the whole template. But for example, to build this, we're going to use this. And the reason we have a router is because we have 2 different types of searches. So again, like I mentioned before, we have the scenario where the customer has an address in mind and we just need that to search our database for that specific address. Or if they don't have an address in mind, then we're going to use the parameters that they have, like the price range, the bedrooms, or even the state that they're looking to move into. Now, before we continue with building this scenario, we need to do one thing. We need to come over here to whatever kind of database you want to use. If it's Google Sheets, if it's Airtable or whatnot, we need to create a new sheet. And in that sheet, we're going to basically host all of the properties. This is where the real estate agent is going to put all of their properties. So you can see up here we have address, the price range, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the state that the client is looking to move into, and the description of this property. As you can see, we have a big long description here. Now, one thing we need to do is when you are building this one, we need to make sure that the format of this cell here, which is the price range, we need to make sure that that's in a number format. So if we come over here and we select enter column type, just make sure that this is in number format. This makes it easier for the basically for the AI and for the Vappy assistant to understand what actual price range this is. So just make sure that's in number format. Create a table like this which has all of these details. When you're building this, you can just use mock data. Again, in my community, I will leave this sheet in there so you don't even have to create it. It's just all ready for you. And then when we create this sheet, then we're going to do this. So we're going to select a webhook, and then we're going to select a router module. So we're going to select a webhook called custom webhook. And then after that, we will select a router module, which is this one. We'll pull that up here. And we're going to have 2 routes. So we're going to have 2. And the first, in this one, we're going to have this one as a Google Sheets. And we're going to select this search rows module. Now in this search rows module, you can see we need to select the actual sheet. So you can see my sheet over here is called voice agent search properties. I'm going to look for that specific sheet. You can see it's down here, voice agent search properties. Sheet name, we're going to use sheet number 2. because over here you can see this is on sheet number 2. And then down here, as you can see up here, this is the get the address. So this is whenever the customer has a specific address in mind. So as a test, I'm going to delete all of that and I'm going to run this module so we can see what it outputs whenever we have an address. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to call the real estate agent here to assistant. I'll make sure I save this tool. I'll come over to assistant. I will go into the tool section. I will give access to this tool called search properties. I'll publish that and now I'll talk to this assistant.
Hello, this is John from Redux Property. How can I help you?
I'm looking for details on the property 54 East Avenue.
This will just take a sec. It looks like I couldn't find any details for the property at 50.
Okay, so that's all we need. So we can see over here, it's able to output the details. If we come in here to tool call ID, we can see functions, arguments, and we can see it outputs the address as 54 East Avenue. Now that's all we need. So in this router module, we need to put in here that whenever the address exists, then it's going to use this route. So we're going to come down here to tool calls, functions, arguments, and we're going to select address and we'll save this. So whenever the address exists, we're going to come up here, we're going to search for that address in the Google Sheets module. So I'll come over here, I will get rid of this, and in here we'll look for the address, because over here in Google Sheets you can see it's called address. So I'll search whenever the address contains, make sure it's case insensitive, and we will select the actual address that this webhook output. So whenever it contains this, then this module is going to output the details on that property. So for example, we can run this module as a test and we can check what the address is. Let's say 54 East Avenue. Then you can see this Google Sheets module will output all of the details on that property. So you can see it outputs the description and everything we need. And that is basically that section done. Whenever it doesn't have an address, then it's going to select this option down here, which is the route where we will use all of the other details that the client has. So in our prompt, we basically tell the assistant that whenever you are searching for a property, we can see down here, the property search, we need all of these are all of the parameters. And we see down here, this is the search strategy. Whenever the client has a specific address mentioned, then use this address parameter only. Whenever the client is browsing for a property, on the other hand, then gather this criteria, location, budget, bedrooms, bathrooms, and we need a minimum of one of these parameters to initiate a search. So we either need the address or we need some other parameter to make a search for a property. So if we come over here, whenever we have the address, it's going to come up here, search for that address. But if we don't have an address, then it's going to come down here and it's going to search for one of these parameters. So it's either going to, if the caller gives the state that they're looking to move in, then it's going to search for that. If it gives the price, it's going to search that. If it gives the amount of bedrooms, then it's going to search that. So you can see here, we're either looking for state, and then we have the price of the property that they're looking for, and the amount of bedrooms. So we need to get all three of them to make a search. Over here you can see obviously we have price, bed, and state, and this is basically going to search all of these. So if a client said I'm looking for a property for around 500,000 with 3 bedrooms in Texas, then that Google Sheet module is going to output all of these details so we can say it back on the call. So in order to get access to all of them details, we're going to run this again and we're going to select option number 2, which is whenever the client doesn't have an address. So I'm going to talk to this again.
Hello. This is John from Redux Property. How can I help you?
Hi John, I am looking for a 2-bedroom apartment in Texas.
Hold on a sec.
Okay.
It seems.
So that's all we need. We can end that call there. And now we can see the tools, and now we can see what the webhook outputs. So if we come back in here, functions, arguments, we can see it outputs 2 bedrooms in Dublin. So we can come down here and we can select in here the amount of bedrooms, which you can see in the output functions, arguments, bedrooms is equal to. So what this is basically going to do is in the Google Sheets, whenever the bedrooms is equal to whatever the webhook outputs, then it's going to make that a match. So we can see bedrooms is equal to, or we can see whatever state it's in. Whenever the state is equal to whatever the webhook outputs, then it's going to use that. We're actually going to get rid of this price one because I don't think it's necessary. I think state and bedrooms is actually fine. So we'll save this, and that's basically these two modules done. These two are the same both here and there, so the exact same. And what we need to do up here is we need to create a data structure. So in order to do that, we're going to select this thing called JSON, and we're going to press create JSON. Now, in order to, how you create that JSON is you come in here and you press add, and you say, we'll call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it test. And then we're going to add an item. Now the items we need to add is one called tool ID. And then the second one we need to add is called result. And we're going to save that, and that's basically this done. Now in the tool ID, we're going to come down here to where the webhook is. We're going to select tool called, and we're going to select ID. And then in the result, select the result that this outputs. So you can see here, this is the search. So this is what it's going to return back to the webhook, or this is what it's going to essentially return back to the Vappy assistant. So we're going to select all of the details like address, price, bedrooms, bathrooms, state, and description. And then we're going to connect that to the webhook. Like we see in the top one, we're going to connect that to the webhook. And then in this webhook, we're going to just select this JSON string. Now we've already done all of this, so we'll come back up here and we'll just fix it again. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to format all of this. It's going to output that as a JSON, and it's going to send that back to the actual webhook. So this Vappy assistant is going to search for the properties. It's going to format in JSON, and then it's going to return it back to the Vappy assistant. Again, it's the same up here. You can see we have the tool call ID and the result of the search. We'll put that in here, and it's going to be able to search for that specific property. Now, the main thing about this is it's down below, so you can download it yourself. If you want to follow along, you should be able to follow along. If you have any questions, just shoot it in the DMs below, and I should be able to, or shoot it in the comments below, and I should be able to answer your question. But let's check this to see if it works. So I'm going to run this, and I'm going to come over here, and we're going to test the full assistant now. So I'm going to call this, we're going to book an appointment, and we're also going to search for a property. Hello?
Hello, this is John from Redux Property. How can I help you?
Hey John, can you tell me a little bit more about 54 East Avenue?
Give me a moment. I found a stunning property at 54 East Avenue, Houston, Texas. It's listed for $900,000 and features 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Would you like to hear more details about this property?
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about the premium details of this property?
Certainly. Here are some highlights of the premium details for 54 East Avenue. Hardwood floors, beautifully laid for elegance and durability throughout the home. Crown molding and custom millwork adds an extra touch of luxury and sophistication. Smart home technology features.
Okay,
to
perfect.
enhance.
Can you book me in for an appointment to view this property tomorrow at 12 p.m.?
One moment. Let me check availability for you. Great. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. is available. Shall I book that for you?
Yes, please.
May I have your name?
John.
Thank you, John. What's your email address?
John@gmail.com.
Got it. And could I have your phone number, please?
Yeah, it's 1234567
This will just take a sec. Booking now. Your viewing appointment for 54 East Avenue is successfully scheduled for tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Perfect.
You'll receive a confirmation shortly. Booked. You'll receive a confirmation shortly. Enjoy your viewing of 54 East Avenue. If you need anything else, feel free to ask.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Bye. See there, this assistant done a wide range of things. It was able to return the address that we're searching for. It was able to detect any available times in our calendar. It was able to book them times in, and it was also able to send the real estate agent an email using this tool that we built over here and give it all of the details on this property. So this is specifically for real estate, but as you can imagine, in any industry, the majority of the tools you're going to use is the ones that we've just built in this video. So don't be afraid to get in the weeds and kind of change things up and or edit it for whichever client you're working with or whatever industry you're in. And again, like I said, below is a link to the actual prompt, which you can download for free. Also, there should be a link to my community, which you can download all of these make scenarios. And yeah, if you have any questions, shoot them in the comments. And I would love if you could leave a comment and a like. It helps me out massively.